But let's start with Manchester United and the news that we brought you a couple of hours ago. Casemiro will leave Old Trafford at the end of his contract this summer. Well, he spent 4 seasons at United. He's won the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, and he's had this to say about leaving. I will carry Manchester United with me throughout my entire life. We still have a lot to fight for together. My focus will, as always, remain on giving my everything to help our club succeed. Well, this came out of the blue. Dharmesh, we've been reporting that this decision was made some time ago. Why are United telling us now?
You say it came out of the blue. I don't think it's entirely a surprise that we're hearing that Manchester United and Casemiro will be parting ways at the end of the season. This decision was actually made in advance of today, and a couple of reasons why it might be announced today is Manchester United and Casemiro wanted to control the narrative, number one, so there's no talk and speculation about Casemiro's future. And I guess for Casemiro himself, it gives him clarity because there's a World Cup at the end of the season. He will then be in a position where he knows where his future is going to be because his representatives will no doubt be able to speak, well, they can already speak to clubs outside England ahead of signing a pre-contract agreement if he wanted to do that, or come the end of the season, just focus on the World Cup and then look at every option that he has got and then make an informed decision with all of the choices that he might have at that point. Another reason that Manchester United probably are looking at this situation and thinking, do you know what, we know we've got an option to extend Casemiro's deal for a further year, but he is one of the highest earners at Manchester United. And I think that could have played a huge part in Manchester United deciding, actually, we need to start moving forward once Casemiro has left, because he's not, clearly, with his age, not going to be part of the long-term plans for Manchester United. So maybe this is the time to say, right, thank you for your service. It's time to move on, and we can then reinvest those wages, those big wages, on another player when we do make those signings.
All right, so on that note then, what does this mean for their transfer plans?
Nothing immediately. Their immediate plans in terms of what they look to do in this winter window remain unchanged. We've been reporting their main priority in 2026 is signing 1, if not 2, top central midfielders. With Casemiro departing, you'd suggest perhaps they'd be looking at 2 rather than 1 now, though saying that, there was perhaps always an expectation that Casemiro would be departing this summer because he turns 34 next month, and as Dharmesh was saying there, in terms of those wages, he's in a position whereby he's one of the highest earners at the football club right now, and Manchester United do not want to be seen to pay these extortionate wages anymore. Their focus remains signing these top central midfield players in the summer. We know they'll be more gettable then. They'll be easier to do those deals unless there's a unique market opportunity whereby somebody like Carlos Baleba, Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton or João Gomez became available now. But the situation they're in, the situation their clubs are in, makes it very unlikely that those clubs want to sell those players at this stage of the season. Casemiro has enjoyed a really, really good period for Manchester United of late. It was felt that maybe 18 months ago he wasn't going to be a player that would feature for Manchester United. It was felt by some pundits that his legs had gone and the football had left him. Well, he's shown in recent time he still has a key role to play for Manchester United. United don't want to commit to those type of wages, but saying that, the replacement won't be cheap.
Right, we're going to break off from that. We've got some breaking news coming out of Spurs. Our football correspondent, Rob Dorset, has the news. Rob.
Mike, significant breaking news and exclusive breaking news we have for you on the transfer show this evening. I can tell you that Manchester United are ready to open contract talks with Kobbie Mainoo over a new lucrative deal. Now, those talks haven't started yet, but there has been initial contact with Mainoo's representatives, I understand, with a plan to sit down and go through the details of a contract in much more comprehensive terms. And you mentioned Casemiro there because it's a very significant time, isn't it? On the day that Manchester United have announced that Casemiro will be leaving the club at the end of the season, at the age of 34 he will be by then, it's now very, very clear that Manchester United want to tie down another midfielder, one who is much, much younger, only 20 years old, and one who Manchester United see as absolutely key to the club's future. Now, of course, because Mainoo came through the club's academy and achieved so much and risen so quickly, his wages right now in his current deal are not very high at all. Compared with the rest of his teammates, he's on a significantly lower salary. And that's something that has always been in the background here and obviously consciously thought of by both sides. But this new deal, if and when they sit down and discuss it, my understanding is we'll be able to offer him a much more lucrative contract and bring him much more up to speed and up to the level of some of his esteemed colleagues, and one which Manchester United will feel reflects the standing he has within the club. And of course, this is a significant change for Mainoo as well. Remember, he started his first Premier League game of the season under new manager Michael Carrick, new head coach Michael Carrick at the weekend. Before that, under Ruben Amorim, he didn't start a single Premier League game this season. And so I think my understanding was, whilst Mainoo and his representatives were keen to sit down and discuss a new deal and try and deal with that anomaly of his lower wages, United, of course, didn't want to upset the then incumbent head coach, and they didn't know what the plans were longer term going forward. There was interest in Mainoo from a number of European clubs, including Napoli, and there was some suggestions, some reports that Mainoo might be interested in going out on loan to try and get some more game time. It was made very, very clear that Manchester United weren't going to allow that to happen because they see him as a key part of the squad going forward. And of course, Michael Carrick comes in, picks him for his first game, a much more rosy future this season, it seems, for Kobbie Mainoo. And as a result of that, it seems that Manchester United feel this is the right time, while they're putting their house in order, while they're dealing and making decisions with the long-term future of players like Casemiro, they want to tie down some of their younger stars who are important to the club going forward. Kobbie Mainoo is absolutely at the heart of that. And so big breaking news that we'll just repeat for you and remind you of for you on the transfer show tonight. The talks haven't started quite yet, but I'm told there has been initial contact between Manchester United's bosses and Kobbie Mainoo's representatives. And Manchester United are ready now to sit down and discuss a new and much improved contract with their young midfield star.
Rob Dorset, our football correspondent, with the breaking news. Thank you, Rob. Now, though, and Jean-Philippe Mateta, James, what's going on with his future?
It's increasingly uncertain after he told the club that he wants to leave them in this window. We know he wants to play for a Champions League club or a club that will be playing Champions League football next season. He wants to play for France at the World Cup, having broken into the squad at the back end of last year. Juventus are the club that have pushed hardest to try to sign him in this transfer window. We've reported in recent days that Aston Villa also have an interest in signing him. But the only real concrete bid that has gone in to Crystal Palace so far has been Juventus, with an initial loan bid, with then an obligation to buy him if they qualify for Europe in the summer. Now, Steve Parish has been reluctant to let any players leave in this transfer window. He is a tough negotiator. He managed to extract £20 million from Mark Gay despite his contract expiring this summer. Crystal Palace still value the player around £35 million. That's despite the fact he'll be 29 in June and that contract does expire in 2027 and there are no active conversations ongoing about a contract. So you'd think the way things are moving is Jean-Philippe Mateta won't be a Crystal Palace player that much longer. It's whether or not a club is willing to stump up the sort of money that Crystal Palace want in this window, having let Mark Gay leave. The manager's going to leave in the summer as well. He's their top scorer by 5 goals so far this season. If they let him go, what situation are they going to be in?
Are the Palace fans going to let that happen? They won't have that, will they?
I think Crystal Palace fans, they're a brilliant fan base because they don't have delusions of grandeur. They enjoy being in the Premier League, but they want to see their squad build on what they did last season. It was incredible success at Wembley against Manchester City last summer, but they feel that the club have failed to build upon that, whether that be in the last summer transfer window, signing players very late, signing players who haven't been at the quality required for Oliver Glasner to pick a lot of these players in the first team. So they want to see a club build on that success, which they haven't done so far. I think they accept the fact that Oliver Glasner would move on because of the type of clubs that probably would be in for him. I think they expected Mark Gay to depart and he leaves with their well wishes, really, because of the job he's done at Crystal Palace. But I think they hope that there'll be more transfer activity done earlier in each window. I think Brennan Johnson could prove to be a very, very good player for Crystal Palace, but they're in a situation now where this could have been a really special season. There is still hope it can be. They could still win a European trophy and it would be a dream season. But the way things have moved in the last few weeks, I don't think Crystal Palace fans can believe the way things have unravelled in recent time on the pitch and off it.
Dharmesh, if he were to go, who would come in?
Yeah, just against the backdrop of Mateta's future, Crystal Palace are clearly going to be doing due diligence on a number of other strikers who could come in potentially to replace Mateta. Jurgen Strand-Larsen is a name that will not go away, the Wolves striker. We're told that he wants to stay in the Premier League if he does leave Wolves in this transfer window. That's not a guarantee, but if he does, he wants to stay in the Premier League. There have been lots of clubs from Europe's top 5 leagues who have expressed an interest in Jurgen Strand-Larsen. Leeds, Palace and Forest are among the Premier League clubs who really like the player. I think when Palace made an inquiry last month, I think they were put off a little bit by the £40 million price tag. I just wonder now, as we get closer to the end of this transfer window, whether that price is going to change and whether Palace can indeed go in and try and get someone like Strand-Larsen.
Oh, interesting. James, quick one. Are Palace going to be beaten to a player by Wrexham?
Rashford sensationally eyes Man UTD comeback after PSG struggles. Casemiro set for Saudi riches as Old Trafford exit nears. Cole Palmer £65 million blockbuster to replace injured Mainoo, Carrick's dream midfield revealed today. Rashford demands return valuing Carrick connection over Paris life. Casemiro rejects contract extension chasing mega Saudi deal. Palmer transfer accelerates as Mainoo long-term injury opens number 10 slot. Triple Old Trafford shake-up confirmed.